You follow me? This is a pain, I'm telling you right now. Okay, everyone, my name is Jack Hippen. I am part of STgenetics team in the U.S. I manage the U.S. and the channel in Europe for us. I have the dubious honor of being a part of the introduction of FarmFit in the U.S. And we're going to play a video to start this off, and I'll come back after that. We're going to have fun, ask questions. This is going to be really low key. This is here to learn and get involved. So, Mitch, you ready? Let's do her.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's here. FarmFit, the newest cutting-edge technology. STgen, the same company, Ultraplus and EcoFeed. STgen will now revolutionize cattle care. Is an innovative smart bolus that oversees each animal in your herd, alerting you to individual needs from calves to cows through 24/7 tracking. With one single.
Hello, my name is Jack Hippen, and I work for STgenetics. I run the U.S.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's here. FarmFit, the newest cutting-edge technology by STgen, the same company that brought you Ultraplus and EcoFeed. STgen will now revolutionize cattle care and welfare. FarmFit is an innovative smart bolus that oversees each animal in your herd, alerting you to individual needs from calves to cows through 24/7 tracking. With one single technology, a lifetime monitoring bolus, enabling you to know your herd from inside and out, from calves to cows. Optimizing time and labor management with complete traceability of your animals. Benefit from more time, more health, more profits. Benefit from FarmFit. FarmFit by STgen. Individual care on a large scale.
That's much better. As you can see, one of the things we pride ourselves on here at STgen is a technology company. Now, didn't start off that way with that video not starting, but that's not our fault. So, when you go into this, if you look at where we focus, it's on the technology side, as I said, but you can see it in our straws. What do we do with our straws? We have high purity, we have Ultraplus, which is about conception. So it's a number of daughters, and it's how often and how fast we can get animals pregnant, right? Pregnancy is the key. We have genomic testing. For those that aren't aware, we own a company, Genetic Visions, and then we have chromosomal mating based off of having a genomic test. And then the latest of our technologies that we really pride ourselves on is what we call EcoFeed for both dairy and beef, and it's an index, but it's driven by real-world data. This isn't something that we make up. It's not a formula that's put together out of nowhere. We're doing a really nice job there. And this product that Mitch Hockett's going to come up and talk about fits into that technology base that we pride ourselves on. I'll let Mitch take it from here and bring it in and show how it all fits together. Thank you.
Thanks, Jack. Well, we're really blessed to have so many people show up for this event today. We're excited that you're here. Jack mentioned we really want this to be very informal. So we got food, snacks, make sure you leave here at least full. Maybe you don't learn anything from me, but at least you'll get a meal. We are excited about unveiling this new technology that's been in the works for quite a long time. I'm blessed to get to work with a great group of people. FarmFit team, if you'll raise your hands. We got several folks around the room, gray shirts with the FarmFit logo. We want you to get to interact with these folks. So after the discussion's done here, which we hope 15 minutes, 20 minutes, we'll have you on your way. But if you want to get more information, feel free to look for any of those individuals. We're glad to stay after. Live demonstrations, the software and the app down at our booth in the trade show. So if you want to see that, come down around 3:30 and be glad to do some live demos of the software platform then. So when we set out to develop FarmFit, there was a vision. Juan and all of the guys that were part of the original company shared that vision, that they wanted a platform that was really designed to start from the calf to the cow and a complete package. Not many technologies out there can really start with the baby calf, but man, that's the important part. Those first few months are so critical to the full life performance of that animal that we can't ignore that portion. We spent a lot of time developing a technology that could be deployed in young animals and impact all of their life without having to manage a lot of external wearable, tags, all that thing that takes some time and management. So we did develop a bolus. The system was really created with two key parts. The hardware portion is the bolus. I think of this as really being our yardstick, if the rule of what we're measuring with. And we do that with two different sensors. So we're measuring temperature and motion of the animal. And we use the data from those sensors and we create alerts, actionable alerts that can drive decision making. But really this device is created so that it is a good measuring stick of those data. It also has a rumen magnet on the end, so we can replace the need for putting in a indwelling rumen bolus, a magnet, and that just brings a little bit of extra value. The secret sauce, though, is what you do with those data after you measure them. So this is a cloud-based system. We analyze the data and provide those actionable alerts. The first portion of that is an app, and I don't know about y'all, but I use the apps on my phone for a lot of stuff these days. Probably too much, because they know a little bit too much about me. Pizza Hut, particularly, comes up and tells me all the time they've got a new deal when I'm hungry. So they must know my patterns, but we use that sort of technology also to enable the way people function today. The workforce that we're employing today are used to apps on phone. They actually achieve higher rates of protocol adherence if we can drive to what they're used to and what they like doing. So we've enabled this app or built this app around that philosophy that we want the labor force to follow protocols effectively. And it's really an intuitive and easy to use platform. There's also a desktop portion of that for higher level management. And we can submit users at the time that we assign a user. We can give them permissions to any or all or none of those portions, depending upon what you want. And really the part of this is just about visualizing that data. This would be an example of a temperature graph. So you can see in the green, this animal has a series of data points, and we create a normal for that data. I am not normal probably in a lot of ways, but my temperature typically runs around 97.5. Yours might be 98.6, but I feel bad when I have a degree of fever at 98.6 to 99. Every animal is also different. We enable animals to have their own thresholds for temperature and also motion. So we are measuring both of those things. And part of the good thing about this platform is we can help visualize when an animal has a fever, recognize that, and create alerts around that. We can visualize when interventions are given, and then finally, over time, you start recognizing patterns of when recovery is achieved, or maybe more importantly, when it's not, when additional therapies are needed. And over time, what we've learned using the system on our own animals is that we tailor our treatment protocols based on actual data from animals where we can see what's working and what's not working. We've changed drug protocols and therapies accordingly. Now, one of the things that we wanted to do is also just help optimize labor on the farm. That's something that brings tremendous value, especially when we struggle to find qualified labor or keep them with competitive job markets. We wanted to give them tools to help them be more efficient with their time, to optimize that time and focus it where it's needed. So in their farm, for instance, rather than focus on 5,000 head, we can focus on the 100 that have an alert today. We visualize that as well as showing them the ones that are under a therapy today and help them have watch lists and treatment lists So even upper level managers can see when they arrive at the farm today, there are 40 animals under protocol to be treated. Only 27 of those have been given. And at the end of the day, anyone with access as a user can see how much of the work that was supposed to be done has been achieved and what's still left to do, just to drive protocol adherence. Once we have an alert, we can very easily, with a click of a button, go through a series of protocols to examine that animal further, to enroll them as part of a diagnosis, and with the help of your veterinarian, we can set up treatment protocols that easily set up every dose in a timeline and a calendar, and is automatically every day enrolled in the task. That goes beyond treatments. Any protocol on the farm would in a similar way. One of the things that I've always struggled with is remembering the dose of a drug, calculating that dose. And when our system is built to be very intuitive, constantly track weight of an animal, calculate average daily gain, and if a calf is sick and you enroll it in a treatment protocol, it will calculate the most likely animal at that the dosage for the individual giving the dose. This helps us adhere to treatment protocols, recommended label, and stamps the individual giving that dose at the time. So this fits really well. I think we all know that we're also in a time of antimicrobial use. So having objective data that we can now tie to every dose of antimicrobial from a trail standpoint, and it also allows us to track those treatment outcomes. Just focus on, I'm a repro biologist by training, so this part's more fun to me, but we wanted to help easily enroll animals in the synchronization protocols and manage reproduction on the farm. So we have a list of synchronization protocols. This can be tailored to your farm. Once you select one, you can easily change any drugs, dosages, timing of those, and we wanted to give a visual of that as well, so that if we need to go in and troubleshoot quite easily in a timeline, we can see where mistakes may have been made. We've also used the sensors to direct us in activities such as identifying when an animal's in estrus or when she's due to or in labor, so that we can also again concentrate our labor in an effective way. And finally, with all of this stuff together, we really want to be focused on traceability. So from the time that calf is born and assigned an ID throughout her life, we create a timeline of every event in that animal and who performed that event. We can help from anywhere to when to administer first colostrum, second colostrum, track the quality of those products and the impact on health, all the way through doing pregnancy checks and reporting with a log of who performed every single event in that animal's life. So the system, I can't summarize in 10 minutes or 5 minutes everything we can do. I can talk to her. Our programmers actually are still adding features every week, so we're excited about that. The system, obviously, as I said, is really focused on traceability, labor efficiency. We want to drive wellness in these animals and focus the lifetime monitoring on individual behavior, even if we're at a day and age where scale is increasing on our farms. We want to be focused on the individual. So that's been our focus and the drive of this product, and we think it's going to help lead us to be successful. Excited that you joined us. I hope you have questions. We're here, happy to interact for a while. Like I said, yourself with the food, but with that, we'll close. And anybody's questions, we're happy to. Questions you have? Yes, sir. as soon as an animal's enrolled in a protocol, we have a dashboard that has lists, and those lists are meant to focus labor's attention on what to do today. So one of those lists are treatments to give. Sure. And as each of those treatments are administered, it will show up on that animal's timeline. Yes, sir. Yeah, go ahead. Good question. No, so it'll read a RFID button. Yeah. You could use visual ID, RFID, whatever you use. So in our app, when you assign a bolus, you pull up the animal either by scanning an RFID, we can Bluetooth to a scanner. We can use a visual ID. We can populate with your dairy comp data, your PT Dart data, whatever you're using. All the you just click one button, it activates the camera on a smart device, and you can scan the bolus. Those two then are linked. You can enroll an animal in about 6 seconds. Whenever you go to give a treatment or to breed an animal, to treat them, then you can use that visual ID or scan a button, and it's going to pull up that animal. We don't use the bolus to identify the animal in any downstream event. Good question, though. Yeah. Oh, good question. I should have mentioned that. 5-year battery life. Yeah, so we're recommending 4 to 8 weeks of life, depending on the size of the animal and the breed. We recommend a minimum of 100 pounds. Jersey, you might wait a little bit longer. And part of that's going to be dependent upon the quality of labor and the trust you have in your labor. So we often will start them at 8 weeks and then back them down as we train and they learn how to do that. It is Spanish and Portuguese and English. We'll be adding additional languages as we roll out. So this is a U.S. launch. We're going to launch in the U.S. first, and we'll expand into other geographies over time, and we'll add additional languages necessary to expand that market. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So we're measuring temperature in the rumen and ruminal reticulum, and water consumption is a good example of something that would affect short-term temperature. For us, when we're looking at alerts, we're looking at a longer period of time, and we have some internal settings on how long they need to maintain that to alert to try to not give us false alerts based on a short-term temperature spike or drop based on consumption of something. Good question. Yeah. Doesn't have to be a fit. You can have we've boluses with magnets, so that does not affect the function. Good question. What else? So retail price on this is around $38 and about $2 a month on data, around six on stick. And yeah, so it depends on the herd management software and if they allow us to push information in. We can pull information out. In our own herd, we have a script on our computer that constantly pulls 3 times a day, I believe. We're pulling and updating our own farm fit data from Dairy Comp. We can create, tailored files, CSV files to push data back in, but it depends on the willingness of the herd management software to allow us to push data. Good question. We do integrate with multiple systems. API-based systems work really well. So and examples are feed company like Purely. I think we're managing our pin counts directly. We integrate with Genetic Visions, their genomic testing lab, so we can easily scan a TSU tube and assign it to a calf at birth and submit samples into GVI that way. We can integrate with multiple systems, much like the Scalehead example that I mentioned earlier. Yeah, so we do have a contract we ask folks to sign. The data technically belongs to the dairy. We like to use data internally for development purposes, so we have rights to use that in an anonymous way, but we'll never reveal anyone's data outside of that contract. They can use their data the way they want. Our internal data outside, like any additional data that we're getting off the bolus beyond the alerts and that sort of thing, it would be ours. Yeah. But much like herd management software, they would have their data. I should have mentioned we integrate with BHI today, so we get our milk test data into the platform as well. Another question. So today we're using 14-day window. So the first 14 days we use 101.5 as normal, and 2 degrees above that we flag or below. And then after 14 days, that animal will have its own baseline based on its data, which is just a rolling first in, first out. So it constantly updates for time. Yes, we do. And we're constantly building on that. So sorry. Oh, locate. I'm sorry. No, we don't have a location service on the device. Yeah. We can give you a PIN ID, and we know from a collector standpoint which collector is pinging that animal, but we don't, locate the animal. What other questions do you have? These have been great. Oh, sorry. Sure. As many as you want, and you can give them permission to see what you want them to see and anything you don't want them to have access to. There's a full host on both desktop and the app. When you set up a user, you select what you give them permission. So if someone in your calf barn, for instance, maybe doesn't need to see everything in the milk barn. Your nutritionist, maybe you don't want them to see your treatment records. I don't know, but you can select what you want them to have access to. Yeah, so we use a collector that collects data. The bolus sends data wirelessly to a collector. That collector reads about 200 feet. And so we'll place those collectors where animals are going to have a lot of movement and track frequently, collect data there, and then that goes to a gateway and to the cloud. I'm so sorry, what? The antenna. Yeah, so we'll have an installation cost that'll be specific to every farm setup, and every barn structure is different. So one of the first things we do is farm audit. We do measurements, understand how many collectors we need. Typically, it's one gateway for most typical farms, and then the number of collectors differs by farm. Good question. Those collectors are around $400 a piece. Yeah. Yeah, we do, and these have a 3-year warranty on performance as well. If they stop working, then that's time to replace them. But we wouldn't recommend rebolusing a really young calf until it's 3 months of age. So no problem doing that downstream. We have research animals we've put 3 boluses in, no issues. What other questions do you have? It's been really good. We can go all day. Actually, that's not true. We've got till 3, but we don't pick any out. Hey, it's been great. Thank you all. Feel free to mingle. Glad to visit with you. Our team is here. So proud to work developing, and we're looking forward to all the additional features we add over time. Thank you all for being here.
There's a ton of food over there, people. Help yourself.